First off, David, I'll start with you first. I know that this is your feature debut, actually, and most people know you from Industry, which is a show that stresses me out so much all the time. What was it like diving into a character that is very different from what most people would know you from Industry? But I do think that Dom is kind of stressed as Gus, but in different ways. But what was it like diving into a character that's different from what most people know you from?
Oh, I mean, thank you. I'm sorry that it stresses you out so much. It does that to people, doesn't it? But no, like for me, it was without sounding odd about it, but I think that's the kind of actor that as a young actor, that's what I want to do, is do roles that feel entirely different from one to the other, and no two things should really be too similar, especially now. I think I've got time to turn the dial and switch it a bit. So it was a joy to dive into something, from Industry, which is like a high finance drama, to a romantic comedy set in Peckham. And both of those two worlds, I don't think I really exist in, but that's what's nice, to be able to dive in as an actor and find that. So yeah, awesome.
Yes. And Vivian, for you, Yaz is a character that is so, once we first meet this character, she's so curious, but she has this, sense of impulse at the same time. And as the film goes on, I feel like we get to, peel back more layers and, learn about her motivations and things like that. So what was it like diving into a character like this for you, as well as what do you think are some differences and similarities between you in real life and this character?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Like, she's super curious, almost childlike in her curiosity and her impulsivity. And I initially was like, the girl is crazy. Like, when I read it on the page, I was just like, is everything good, sis? And then I think, it's our job to humanize people who we might not immediately understand when we read them on the page. Yeah. And I was like, why would someone want to be this much of an escapist? Why would someone want to be this much of a hedonist? And when I started to understand the reasons why and where the insecurities came from, then I was just like, this is why she's so curious for the world, because she's constantly searching for something other than herself. And I empathized with her on that, and then I'm able to sort of juggle both of her sort of the way she is. I think she has a passion and zest for life, which I love. I think I share. I don't think it comes out in the same way for me. I think I'm a bit more grounded. I'm just a bit quietly enjoying life, but she's like, I love things, which is adorable. Yeah.
As someone who went to London for the first time last year, and I was obsessed, and I've been trying to get back since, I love that this seemed to be so important that this was set in South London and in Peckham and Brixton. Why do you think, what was the importance for you to have that lens on this film? Because, ideally, it could have been anywhere, but it was chosen to be in South London and have this really Rye Lane vibe.
Yeah, because it was originally set in Camden, which is also, a great place. But for me, I think I just know it, I'm originally from Manchester. I moved to London when I was 12. And I lived in South London, and, it's the place that I know. I walked around with my grandma and learned about where to get Jamaican spices and where to get plantain and, where to get an Afro comb, all around Brixton. So it's a place that I feel incredibly connected to. And Peckham I moved to when I went to university, and again it just has that thing where you wander around and there's so many wonderful little pockets of different cultures and people, and it's a great place. And I think it's often been shown on screen as a sad place, and actually it can be hard living in areas like that. It's definitely not been easy for me the whole time, but for me, this is about one good day in South London, and I think it's really important to show the positives of that area.
Mm-hmm. And what was it like having two protagonists in this story who were in this, it's kind of like a rom-com trope sometimes to have people that are vastly different but somehow they're drawn to each other. But I feel like these two characters, they really find themselves in similar situations, and that's kind of how they are drawn to each other. So what was it like having these two characters, the fact that they are Black, the fact they are dark skinned, and being able to have this connection that we sometimes really don't see in rom-coms.
I guess the thing that's quite nice is that in London, it's this weird little bubble, and everyone kind of, you know, I guess when you live in a certain area and you know certain people of the same age, you kind of know each other through friends. And I always really liked the idea that, you know, Yaz knows Dom through a friend, and they probably went to the same gig once, and they've probably been to the same restaurants. You know, they're not people that live on two sides of London and are completely different, one from like a posh family and one not. You know, it's not that thing. I find that a bit boring, to be perfectly honest. I quite liked the idea that this feels quite real, you know? And so it was just about, I think the thing that makes this feel slightly different is these two people are like people that I think I would just meet in a pub. And it's as simple as that. They're relatable, real characters. They are quite different, but they're not different in like a Romeo and Juliet way.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and I cannot wait for more people to see this amazing film.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, of course. Have a good one.